What's up, my YouTube family? It's your boy Roberto checking in with another video, man. I hope everybody's doing good tonight. I'm doing great. Sorry I didn't drop this video a little sooner. So basically, guys, what you seen at the beginning of this video was a lot of devil worshiping. The Wilder and Furry fight was a ritual, a real big ritual from the moment they started at the entrance. I already knew what was going down. I already told you guys that a lot of these celebrities, they do what they have is the red ritual, black and red, where they have devil colors. They have black and red. That's what Deontay Wilder came out in. He had on his devilish suit, red and black, what you guys seen. He had on the red mask, shorts are red with a little black in it. He's basically letting us know, yes, I sold my soul. I sold out. Now I'm performing the ritual where he knew he was going to lose the fight. Deontay Wilder still, he's going to have a sacrifice coming soon. I can tell you guys that now. But, this was his ritual ceremony. His time is up. And with that being said, this is how the industry controls these boxers. They make them do these ritual ceremonies, and a lot of people it just goes unnoticed in them. And this is how they kind of hypnotize people too. When you're watching this stuff, if you're like paying so much attention to it, you'll get drug into it. Like, it'll drag you into it, and that's how they keep us. They keep us down because they keep us influenced by these rituals they do. They throw it right in our face. They try to throw us off when they do that too, because they know we won't question something if they make it so obvious. And with this fight, from beginning to end, it was all staged. It was just really a big ritual ceremony for the elite people. Another way for them to scam people out of money, like normal millionaires and stuff. Like, people bet on this stuff when they already know the outcome is staged. From the beginning of the fight, Deontay Wilder doesn't even, he's moving in slow motion. Like, I thought I wasn't even, I was like, what am I watching? And it was a good fight, but it was more one-sided towards, after the fourth round, it was just a one-sided fight. It was all Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a better boxer. Wilder's just kind of wild, but like I said, this is all staged. And they have no control over this because that is how things go. And from the beginning, Deontay Wilder was punching slow like an old man. Like, he just wasn't himself. And I feel like he's kind of regretting what he did. Like, he's regretting selling his soul and becoming part of the industry. Like, if you watch the fight, just the look in his eyes is not the same as you seen from the beginning. Like, he's starting to realize that what he did was a great mistake. And even from the beginning, you knew who was going to win the fight based off the rituals. And what you seen, how Tyson Fury came out was like the movie 300. He had that dude at the very beginning doing some kind of crazy, weird, devilish looking stuff. Like, that wasn't even necessary. But you know why they did it? Because this is part of the ritual. And this is them showing, like, even though he's 300, they had to add something devilish into it. And if you really look at them, they all looked at like something was off about him. Just how he was moving his body, the tattoos. Like, they were trying to use... They were doing things that were just out of the ordinary. And that guy at the very beginning, once I seen that, I already knew what was going on. I already knew what they were trying to do. I already knew that we were watching a ritual ceremony from both sides. And the movie 300, if you guys don't know, is like it's an old movie that took place hundreds of years ago. And they... 300 men pretty much wiped out a whole huge army when they were outnumbered big time. If that's how I think, if that's how the movie still goes, based on the true story, I believe too. They end up winning, beating out a big army, like when all the odds were stacked against them, and that's what Fury is basically saying, he's going to take them out. With all the odds stacked against him, which the odds are not stacked against him, but that's that's kind of what he was trying to give off. But just off the beginning, we already knew who was going to win that fight. From that ritual there, one's doing a ritual going out the door, and another one's doing a ritual coming in. So Tyson Fury will be the face of the face of boxing, and it would he basically gonna bring the sport back to where they wanted it, and that's part of this ritual is to get boxing back to where it used to once be. And they know if he beat Deontay Wilder this time, if he beat Deontay Wilder this time, that would make him the face of boxing. That's why they had Anthony Joshua lose, so they wouldn't have to worry about the lingering effect of what he has to be Anthony Joshua now. That went out the window when Anthony Joshua lost. Why? Because it's another stage battle. This is all stage, all for the purpose of money. These boxers are the ones getting manipulated and taking the damage and selling their soul to feel empty, all because these big elites want to make money. And then we all know boxing is the most staged sport in the world. Well, back to the fight. So, beginning of the fight starts. Deontay Wilder's moving in slow motion. Tyson Fury's just being himself. Like he looks like he already knows at the beginning that the fight he's gonna win the fight. Deontay Wilder just doesn't seem into it. Like he just seems so out of it. Like if you guys go back and watch the highlights of the fight, he doesn't seem like he's not into the fight. Like he's thinking about something else. He's not moving. Even later in the fight, he wasn't even blocking. Like he was just taking hits. And Fury, in order to make the fight good, so that people would, they dragged it out to 11 rounds. That fight was not gonna be 11 rounds. It shouldn't have been. They dragged it out 11 rounds before he knocked Wilder out. But Fury, the first time he got knocked down, Tyson, that wasn't even a real knockdown. He fell down intentionally. He thought about it. He was like, okay, they told him to make it look good, and that's what he did. So that first knockdown, it was not a legit knockdown. Like he got hit, it's like he thought about, oh, this is where I'm supposed to go down, and he fell because they role played this stuff. He fell down. Then the second time he got knocked down, it looked more realistic, but still, like I said, a staged fight. And then Wilder intentionally burns himself out so people won't think, well, why is he so tired? He hasn't been throwing that many. He threw a lot of haymakers and he tried to make it look a lot realistic when he burnt himself out. But he already knew there was no way he was winning this fight because they've already planned this out. And if I'm not mistaken, they both received $25 million from this fight. I could be wrong. That number could be off. Somebody told me that. I didn't really research it. But either way it goes, they got the same amount of money. But one of them took a bigger sacrifice. And we all know that's Wilder. I don't know where his career go from here. But, once you sign that dotted line, you kind of, you give up your rights as a human. And if you guys go and pay attention to that fight, you can tell that was a staged fight. Regardless of who was supposed to win, who would actually win, the fight was staged. Like Wilder was just doing things that was just so out of, like it just didn't even seem like he was even trying. It was like he just wanted to get beat up. Like he just kept, Fury would lean up against him and just sit there and keep hitting him. He wouldn't even defend himself. He would just sit there and take the hits until eventually he got to the point where he couldn't defend himself. They made it a good fight. They were throwing haymakers at each other, knocking each other down. That's what people wanted to see. But overall, boxing itself is staged. It's a very corrupt sport, and a lot of things is done for money. And they're finding ways to bring boxing back. Rituals at the beginning to entertain the people and hypnotize them and make them think the fight was much better than it really was. The devil is everywhere in every sport. And what we're seeing right now is a mass amount of ritual ceremonies, so something big is about to happen. But I can tell you guys now, Deontay Wilder will have a sacrifice coming very soon. Very soon. I believe he's 35 years old? Something's going to happen. Keep that in mind. But guys, I just want to kind of expose that. Just go back and zoom through the fight. You can see even it was looking like Wilder was holding his wrist. Like he kept trying to touch his wrist with his glove. He's just doing a lot of suspicious things during the fight. A lot of suspicious things. And even after he got knocked out, he got back up. He walked out the ring like everything was normal. But he seemed winded the whole fight. Like it just didn't make sense. It didn't add up. Like you're not a professional boxer and can't even go 4 rounds without getting tired. Like that's just not normal. Maybe around the sixth and seventh you should start slowing down, but it's getting obvious that these sports are rigged and staged. Basketball, football, all these things are staged. But boxing is the worst. And I think a lot of people starting to see that. And this fight exposed a lot of it. I already knew what the outcome was going to be. Anthony Joshua, his fight, staged so that he could lose and Deontay Wilder could lose, so that could make Tyson Fury the undisputed king of boxing. And that will bring entertainment back to the sport of boxing, because now they're going to try to make all these upcoming boxers, challenge him for his throne. Boxing has just not really been the same in the heavyweight division in years. It's been a couple decades since since heavyweight boxing has been like a thing. Mayweather, Pacquiao had been carrying boxing in the lower weight classes. But now, with the corruption, the stage, and how they're making these stories and these rituals they keep using, they're gonna get it back to where they want it, ripping us off too, having us believing these fights are legit. Y'all stay woke and pay attention to what's going on. This boxing industry is not what you think it is. These boxers sell their soul for a paycheck, and then look what happens to them. They use you, and then they no longer need you. They get rid of you. Deontay Wilder was the face of boxing for a while. They got bored of him. Got bored of the black guy. Both the black guys. Now look at them. Looking like a shadow of themselves. Only way they can redeem themselves is if they fight each other. And of course, that'll be staged. Deontay Wilder will win. Deontay Wilder doesn't even know how to box. He throws haymakers. He's a sloppy person. Well, they'll have him win. And he'll fight Fury again. After Fury fights the guy that beat Anthony Joshua. It's going to be a repeat cycle of the same few boxers. It's going to be like the same 5-6 boxers that we see fighting over and over. Never ending story, guys. Stay woke.